Hey, everybody. So let's have a conversation about survival. Now, I talk about this all the time, but I tend to think that when I talk about it, everybody thinks about like the Walking Dead or a zombie apocalypse. But the truth is that there are all kind of scenarios that you need to understand survival and what you need to survive in those times. I think right now is a really good moment to have this conversation because if you look on the West Coast, there are fires, right? We have a lot of Los Angeles parts of there that are burning down right now. People are dying. Sadly, people are stuck in their houses. People are losing their homes. People are being required to get up immediately and leave the place that they're at so that they can survive, right? Leaving behind all of their belongings. And then you come over to the East Coast. And guess what? We have a big old storm that is coming through a whole lot of our states, okay? Where people should be getting ready, prepared for a whole lot of cold weather, a whole lot of snow. You know, I'm here in Georgia. They talking about we might get 2 inches. That's a big thing for Georgia because Georgia don't get no snow at all. Okay, but some places are going to be getting a whole lot of snow, right? And if you live in an area where there's snow, this is something that you deal with every single winter. If you live on the West Coast, you know, fires are not an uncommon thing. If you live in Florida and places that are on the coast and where there is water, you deal with a lot of hurricanes, right? So there are seasons of things that come through all the time. So let's not talk about this stuff like the world coming to an end, a civil war or a zombie apocalypse. Let's just focus on some reality of some real things that are happening right now, okay? So let's first go to the West Coast, you guys. And look, if you guys have not seen, I'm going to play this clip for you, and we are going to check out what is happening there with all of these fires.
Wildfire smoke once again rolling over the hills of Southern California. Of course, the flames are back too. Burning homes, forcing thousands of residents in this affluent LA suburb to get out again, a dance they know all too well.
We have seen that before. So nothing new to us for the last 32 years that I've been here. We have everything in the car, you know, the silverware, the money, the passport and everything ready to go.
But leaving easier said than done. Residents forced to abandon their cars and flee on foot.
Can I just leave my car right there?
Where's your car?
The cop saying you have to leave and I leave my car right there because
So, what happened?
there's a lot of fire right there.
Some evacuees separated from loved ones as they rush to get out.
The evacuating is really very difficult, and 3 miles up the hill they didn't know if they get stuck in traffic or not. So here we are separated, but we're in communication by phone.
Now, you guys, this is a perfect time for what I would call, and many call, a bug out bag. Okay, we talk about bug out bags, and this is the perfect situation for something like that. Okay, this is a bag where you put about 72 hours worth of things that you will need to survive in that time, right? Short amount of time to get to where your next destination is. Now, in this bug out bag, depending on the situation, your life, you're going to want to make sure that you have things in that in order to survive. So if you have children, you're going to want to make sure first and foremost for you and those children that you have like 72 hours of clothing that you can wear, okay? Something that you can change into depending on what the weather is. You want to make sure that you have all of your important medication and things that someone may need. If you have pets, you want to consider your pets as well, right? You want to make sure that you have food in there if you're not sure where you're going and if you will have access to that food, right? And I'm not talking about a big old, cheeseburger or you got to do some meal prep. I'm talking about protein bars, things that are easy to snack on, nuts and things of that nature so that you can have some type of food for you and for your children, right? And as well as your pets. The next thing that you guys want to think about as well as that and your medication is that you want to make sure that you have all of your important documents with you, okay? So when you think about these people that are leaving their homes and your house is burning down, there's probably not going to be anything to come back to. Okay. So the one thing you do want to make sure that you have somewhere in a situation that you can grab very quickly and place it in that bag, okay, is going to be your insurance papers for your home. Okay. You're going to want to make sure that you have your birth certificate, your social security card, important documents that are going to ensure that you can continue to move on and rebuild things in your life and not have the stress of trying to get all of those documents all over again. Okay. It is also important that in that bag, you are going to have things unique to whoever you are, your family, pets, children, whether you have smaller children or older children. Again, think about the things that you will need in these next 3 days for you to get to where you need to go. Another thing that is very important about your bug out bag, okay? I'm always going to suggest that you have a weapon, okay? Now, some of you may be squeamish about that, but look, when things go crazy and you have even natural disasters, mayhem is always one thing that follows, right? So you get people who don't have what they need because they did not prepare, and they will definitely take yours. There are also groups of people who, when there are things like this that take place, all of the emergency care, the police, medical care, things of that nature, they are focusing on the disaster right now. They're focusing on those fires, right? The police are trying to get people to evacuate and make sure that they are safe. So at the end of the day, you're probably not going to get as much help in those areas when you call 911. People know that and will take advantage of that, right? And so you need to be able to protect yourself, whether you think you like weapons or you don't. Okay, I mean, either you like weapons or you like getting your ass beat and your stuff taken, or either worse happening to you, right? So please do not forget the fact that in these situations, you definitely need to protect yourself. There are other people that will take from you so that they can make sure that they survive. Then there's a group of people that will actually do things to you just because they know they can. And because of the disaster that you're going through right now, like in the fires in California, they will take advantage of that because they know that they don't have police that are going to come out readily available and that their attention is in other places. And they're more likely to get away with the crime that they are doing. Okay. So the last thing that I want to say to you guys is, I don't know if you guys saw on the news, maybe I'll insert a clip after I say this. If it's in there, you'll know I inserted. If it's not, then oh well. I did actually add it on my shorts if you guys want to go look there as well. But on Fox, there was a clip of a bunch of cars that were just abandoned in the road. It reminds you of the scene from what is it called? Left Behind or some shit like that, right? So it reminds you of a scene like that, or The Walking Dead. There are just cars everywhere.
This was also another scene earlier. This is when a lot of people had nowhere to go. They abandoned their cars because the flames were fast approaching. As a result, LA City Fire, they had to come in because the road was completely blocked. They bulldozed all the cars off to the side to make that emergency route to clear it out.
Now, some people comment in my comment section, well, why would they just leave their cars? Where did they walk to? But they actually were instructed to do that, right? I guess that there was a pile up. People can't get through. That's what happens when everybody waits to the last minute to leave. When they tell you to leave, you should leave. Okay, so let's be clear about that too. When things like that come down and you hear that you should get out of a place, you should leave. Stop waiting until the last minute or thinking that somehow all of this stuff is going to miss you and not come to your front door. Okay, so when they tell you to leave, leave. But for whatever reason, the cars were all backed up. And as the fire is coming, so I guess they had transportation, but people needed to get out of their cars and walk to the emergency transportation that would get them to a safer location in a due amount of time, because sitting in that traffic jam was not going to get them where they needed to go. So remember this in taking your bug out bag. It cannot be something that is heavy in lug. There may have been some people that they thought, okay, I got my stuff in my car. I packed things in there. I got suitcases in there. I got, my belongings as much as I could get because I can't come back to my house. It's probably going to be gone. Well, if you were one of those people that were in that traffic jam, guess what? And you were asked to get out of your car and walk to safety, you're not going to be able to take all of those boxes and suitcases and things that you packed in your car. So one really important thing about your bug out bag is that it is convenient for you to throw it in a backpack, put it on your back. It is a smaller thing that you can carry and it's not going to weigh you down. So that is a really important part of it as well. If you are not able to be in your car and in transportation to be able to have all of those things, and you have to be on foot and walk, you want to make sure that you have your bag that is small enough and convenient enough that you can throw it on your back. So I always suggest a backpack, right, for your bug out bag. If you have children, make sure that their own separate bug out bag is prepared, right? That has the things that they will need in there. Now, this is the key to the bug out bag, right? Is that you can't wait until it's time to actually pack this bag. So you should be looking to put things in there, have them ready, and so that when it is time to go, it is time to go, right? Even when it comes to your important papers, maybe you get a second copy of everything. We talked about Social Security cards, birth certificates, and have them in that bag and ready to go, or either have the ones that you do have in a place that is very close and you can grab quickly, okay? But you want to go through those bags and change them from time to time, depending on the seasons, what clothes you have in there based on weather. So you may want to change up those clothes. Kids grow, seasons change. You should already put snacks and things that are in there. You know, a lot of things that I suggest when it comes to snacks are things that will last. They do not expire for a couple of years, so you can keep them in that bag, right? But from time to time, you have to go in that bag and you have to make sure that you replenish it with the things that are needed, okay? So this is the key to having a bug out bag. Everybody in the West that was not ready, let me tell you something. They should have been ready. They probably wish they were ready. And they would have had bug out bags. They would have been told they had to leave. And yes, leaving your home knowing that it's probably going to burn down is very devastating, but you would have been prepared to grab the major necessities and things you need so that you could have quickly gotten out of the way. There was a video of several men that were in their home and the fire was all around them. I don't know if they made it out or if they didn't, but apparently they weren't prepared. They didn't have a bug out bag and they were waiting to the very last minute. Don't let that be you, because it could cost you your life. All right. So with that said, you guys, let's move on to the East Coast now. So if you have not heard about the East Coast, which if you haven't, I mean, some of y'all don't watch the news. You might be living underneath a rock, okay? And you just came from underneath your rock to watch this video. So I'm going to play a clip for you so you can see what's going on the East Coast.
The treacherous driving as a major winter storm hit several states just as millions were trying to head back to work and back to school. Record snow, freezing rain, and a deadly 24 hours on the roads. Tonight, Reagan Airport in Washington has now been closed. More than 40 million Americans on alert as we come on tonight. There is still more coming in the evening hours and then the brutal cold tomorrow. The images coming in here, the freezing rain turning to ice on Interstate 135 right here. This is outside Wichita. Tractor trailer jackknifing one of many vehicles losing control. An ice storm coating trees and power lines in Perryville, Missouri. Trees covered in ice coming down. Branches and trees breaking, hundreds of thousands without power. A state of emergency in Louisville, Kentucky, buried under more than 7 inches of heavy snow there. A nearly 7-hour traffic jam. This is the Spence Bridge right here in Cincinnati. More than 2,000 flights canceled nationwide. Look at this, the Kansas City airport, a ghost town tonight. More bad weather coming this evening and frigid temperatures behind all this. Ginger Z standing by with the forecast, and Victor Kendo leading us off with the images from across the country tonight.
Tonight, hundreds of thousands without power, interstates littered with cars and trucks, millions facing treacherous conditions as a massive, deadly winter storm barrels eastward.
Okay, so let's talk about the opposite of your bug out, and let's talk about bugging in, okay? When we talk about the East Coast, everybody is expecting a whole lot of weather and storms, okay? Now, I recall one time, I don't know if some of you may remember, I was living in Massachusetts at the time, and we had a storm in October. It was very early for the winter season. All the leaves were still on the trees. And so we got a foot of snow and it fell all on the trees and the branches. The weight of it caused all of the trees to then start to break all of the branches. And we lost power in our city for 8 days straight. And it was cold as hell outside. I know it's oxymoronic. It was cold as hell because it was hot. But anyway, it was cold outside, okay? Real cold. And so without having any of our power, you guys, and we were not able to heat our home, okay? So some of you may find yourself in that situation. So I want to talk about the opposite, right? So your bug-in bag is where you have at least 72 hours. I like to say because you're inside and you're not lugging this bag anywhere versus like a bug-out bag. I would recommend that you have like a week worth of stuff because you just never know how long this will last and you're in your home. So you're not actually moving anywhere with this bag, okay? This is something you are going to prepare that you're going to go to in times where you have to hunker down in your home. So this is the opposite. The bug out bag is when you got to get up and you got to go. Okay. The bug in bag is when you have to stay and you're not able to leave your home and go out and get necessities or things that you may need. Right. So you need to make sure you have them all with you. Okay. And so what you're going to do is get these supplies. Once again, even though they're in your home, you are not going to use them. You're going to leave them there to be prepared for the moments that you may need them. Okay. So the first thing you want to think about, you guys, when you are in the house, you want to have water. Okay. You want to make sure that you have something to hydrate. Okay. You want to make sure that you have food. Okay. That you are able to give your body sustenance if you can't get out and get any food. All right. We always know that when these storms come, you start going to the store and the shelves start getting empty because everybody waits till the last minute to buy. What I suggest is that in the future, that you guys start to buy things that actually have an expiration date on them that are years away, so you can actually just have stuff and don't actually have to run to the store because you already have these supplies. Okay. So you want to make sure you have those necessities. The next thing you're going to think about is heat. Okay. At a time like this. If your power goes out, do you have something to give you heat or power, right? So you want to think about things like sleeping bags are a really great choice if it is cold, just to get in your bed with some blankets. You will be surprised how well a sleeping bag that you get inside and then get in your bed will actually keep your body heated and keep you warmer. You can also use the thermal blankets that they sell. They're very cheap at the stores, you guys, so that you can have them as well to help your body heat, help to keep you warm, okay? One thing that I always recommend for power when we talk about lights and things like that, or even to put on like a heater, an electric heater somewhere, is to have a generator. I prefer and recommend for you guys to have a solar generator, right? That is what I use. Jackery is a really great company. There's going to be plenty of links in the description of this video for you guys. But they have all different sizes, right? Because the power might be out, but your Wi-Fi might still be working. But if you can't plug the modem in, then you can't get any internet, right? If you need to charge your cell phones, because we don't have landlines anymore. That's how we get in touch with people, right? And so you will need some type of power. So I always suggest a solar generator. You do not need gas or anything. All you need is some sun. In the daytime, you can take the solar panels outside and get sun from them, or sit them in the window, bring them back in. A lot of these generators can power large appliances. If you needed to plug your stove in and cook, microwave, things of that nature, for 24 hours, okay? So that's what I always suggest for that, you guys. You want to make sure you have some power, some light, and something to keep yourself warm with, okay? You also want to make sure that you have a first aid kit. Now, I did not say that in the bug out bag, but you want to have that as well, okay? But you want to make sure that you have a first aid kit, but you also want to make sure that that first aid kit isn't just Band-Aids and like burn ointment, okay? And you want to get a more professional one. And I would even throw out there to say that in surviving, if you are responsible for your home and the people in your home, it is your responsibility to make sure that they are okay and they are ready for all of these situations that may arise. So I would suggest taking some type of a first aid class beyond CPR, like that helps you put a stent on somebody's arm if something was to break, how to maybe pack a wound, how to stitch up a wound, how to stop the bleed if somebody is bleeding in a very bad way. I think that those things are actually necessary, but make sure that you have some of those things. Also, never throw away antibiotics nor pain medication, okay? People say that these things don't work anymore, medication after a while. It might be less potent, but medication never loses its total potency. So it's always better to have something than to have nothing in those situations, okay? You want to make sure that you have stuff for sanitation, hygiene stuff, all of those good things for that time. You want to make sure that you're able to communicate with people, okay? So in that communication, this also works with the bug out bag as well. Now, I'm not giving you a full list of everything. I will actually leave a link in the description of this video for several Word files that you guys can open up and look at, and it will be a information on a bug-in bag, a bug-out bag, and then a checklist for you to use and print out to then create your own, right? And make sure that you have everything that you need. So I really just want to go over the basic things that you need to have in these situations. So the next and the last basic thing I want to go over is communication. Now, if you still have power, then that is fine. But remember, this is preparing for when you don't have these things and you never know what's going to happen, okay? Like right now in California, because of the fires, there are communities that are not in danger of the fire, but they have cut the power. And What reason they've done that for, I don't know. My son is actually out there. They are not in proximity of the fire, but they have cut off the power in the communities around them. And they said it had something to do with the fires. So they don't have any power, right? So this is not about, oh, well, I still got power, because this storm may come on the East Coast and nobody's power might not go out. But this is not about when the power stay on. This is about when it go off. Because when it go off, it's too late to get ready, because you have to prepare beforehand, if that makes sense, right? Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. So if you have some type of a generator or solar box that you can then charge your phones, that's great. But in case that does not happen, make sure that you have communication. Now, two-way radios are a really great thing. You can buy them very cheap, Amazon and other places. The one thing that makes the difference is changing the what do I want to say? The antenna on it, right? So you can get those that actually go many miles, right? 20 miles, 30 miles, 40, 50 miles, it all based on the antenna that you have. You can get a very large one and replace them so that you can get a signal and speak to someone many miles away, okay? Which is good if you have a loved one. Let's say your mom, you have family members, you guys are around each other, and her house is within 20 miles of where you are, right? And the power goes out and you want to be able to check on people. You can communicate that way and make sure that your family and those that you want to get in touch with have those two-way radios so that you can then communicate with each other, okay? So these are the basic things that I wanted to go over. You know, if you have children and you're hunkered down in your house, you know, of course, you got kids, you already probably know this. Make sure that you have some stuff for your kids to do. And it may not always be the phone or the tablet or anything like that. The TV, none of that might be coming on. So you might have to get inventive and play some games, but get some board games, some things to keep people occupied. When power goes out, people are cold. You may not have all the things that you need. It puts people in a certain state of mind, right? So when you have children, you want to make sure that they have what they need and keep them occupied and keep them at ease. So even when everything is falling apart around them, they look at mom, they look at dad, and they look at the people caring for them, and they have as much normalcy as possible, and they get a feeling that everything is going to be okay. So make sure that you have entertainment for those babies, okay? Maybe even for yourself. I mean, you know, if you're not like me, I spend a lot of time alone. I'm okay with no TV or nothing on. Y'all might get really bored too. So make sure you have some games and some things like that if you have to stay in the house for several days. So anyway, I will put that information in the description of this video. You guys can look for the links down there for a lot of products and stuff that you can get in the places you can get them from, as well as MX Survival, you guys. I want to give a shout out while I was doing this video before I end it. I want to give a shout out to a woman who emailed me while I was in the middle of actually recording this. I'm not going to say her name, but I do want to read her email. And I want to say that I am humbly grateful that when I do shows like this or the information I give, that so many people listen. You know, I talk and give information, but it's really great when you see in real time that you are helping to positively change people's lives. So I got an email from a woman that says, I just want to thank you for all you do. I never bothered to prep before I found you. I live in LA near the Eaton Canyon fire. My house is gone, gone, gone. I am so sorry to hear that, sis. I really am. She says, but I did have my bug in and bug out bag, and I was ready to go when the fire got near my house. Before you, I never started or even thought about it. After you, I had a plan. I had a bag ready to go. Thank you. So I just want to say, that I am grateful that when I'm speaking, that it's not in vain and there are people listening. So shout out to everybody, because I know there are tons of you that's like, Michi, I'm prepared. I done started going to the range. I got my weapons. I got my bags. So shout out to all of y'all that are doing that. And if you're listening to this now, look, it's never too late to start getting ready. Let's start today, okay? Because your survival is really up to you. Stop taking for granted that 911 is going to always be there when you call, because they're not, or that the ambulance is going to always show when you need them, because they're not. Do not think that every time you turn on the faucet, just because you paid your water bill, that clean water will come out. Do not always think because you flick that light switch and I paid my electric bill that your power is going to come on, because those things are not guaranteed. Do not always assume that just because you have the money to pay for those groceries, that you'll hit the grocery store and there will be food on the shelves for you. So take your survival in your hands and make it your responsibility. So with that said, you guys, check the description box for all of those links, all of those forms to help you better be prepared for anything, right? Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. And last but not least, like this video, share this video with somebody that you care about so that they can start to survive in any situation that they need to. And then hit that notification bell, you guys, and subscribe if you have not. And I will see you on the next video or the next live.